Okay, in this last exam technique question, I want to talk about the importance of sort of self-talk and sort of expectation or self-image in terms of in physics, but I set this up in the context. I guess Richard Sherman is now a former Seattle Seahawk cornerback, but was drafted very late in the 5th round. If he had to take that particular round pick to heart, he probably would have found it difficult to achieve the success that he has. So he thinks he's not so good, and he takes it to heart, and he thinks he's not good enough to compete in the NFL. Whether this is a good mental practice, again, like the previous questions, these are things that are much easier said than done, and they can take a lot of work, but the work is definitely worth it. So to give the analogy to the student or the introductory physics course, and this is one that I unfortunately hear very often, is a lot of negative self-talk in terms of students' own image of their ability at both math and physics, and a continuous self-talk in which they believe it's not possible for them to succeed, or this concept of being an imposter or having an imposter syndrome. And this is a pretty common occurrence, I guess, in most science or STEM courses, and could extend beyond those. And as I'm trying to say here, it's not like you can easily eradicate this. But it is something I would like you to be aware of if it's something that you find you do on a common basis or a daily basis, that you can sort of consider. Physics in itself is a difficult subject, and it can be made more difficult if the self-image or self-talk begins in a negative state. So even if you were to minimize this sort of, even to minimize it, or even to get to a neutral point where you don't have, in a sense, any strong opinions whether you can or you cannot, and I, of course, certainly would encourage you, and I think everybody's capable of learning physics, but it's certainly to be aware of what kind of things or things you say to yourself in terms of your capability. That as I said, it's given the concepts can be difficult to interpret, placing an additional hurdle of a self-image that's sort of negative, it makes it a difficult subject even more difficult. So even if you can just become aware of the kind of things that you say, or say amongst your friends, and even to again just minimize it, again, it's something that it's not easy to eradicate, but I think maybe the first step, becoming aware, and even moving to a minimization, or even having a sort of neutral sense, I think will definitely help. I think a lot of the research will definitely show that this is it's difficult to succeed with a negative self-image, and to have this sort of growth mindset is certainly what we're trying to encourage. Rather than fixed, everybody, in a sense, has the capability of working on these concepts. They are challenging, but they're not beyond anybody's capability. And I sort of encourage you to think of a growth mindset as you work through the course, and to, if at all possible, think positively about your ability in learning these concepts.